Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new, hey, what's poppin'? So I'm gonna get straight into this story because yeah. I was actually scheduled to deliver around September the 27th of 2019, and during my pregnancy I was always a better safe than sorry person because better safe than sorry. So I was in a hospital like around 7 times during my whole pregnancy. The reason why I was in the hospital so many times is because I had a lot of pain during my pregnancy, and like I said, I was always a better safe than sorry kind of person. So with that, the first time I went in, I was around 6 months pregnant. My doctor told me that my daughter had already turned into the birthing position. So I was 25 weeks to 26 weeks, and they told me, listen, you having contractions. If you can keep her in until 27 weeks, she has a better chance at survival. So I was like, which what? At that time, they put me on bed rest. So I was on bed rest from 6 months to 7 months, right? So coming around to my delivery time, I am hypertensive, meaning that for those of you who don't know, hypertension is high blood pressure. It's very hard to get your pressure back to normal. So as a result of that, that's a easier way for them to put you on bed rest and what's not. Basically, to just keep a close eye on you. But I was on bed rest at home. Coming around to my delivery date, my doctor told me, she came into my room because the last time that I was in a hospital, she came in and she said, Miss Smith, your pressure is very high and it's not going down. So we're gonna induce you, because I was actually scheduled, like I said before, to deliver later on that September. So it was a Thursday, she said that, and I spent the night in the hospital because they was trying to bring my pressure down. I called my mom and I told her what was going on, and she jumped on the boat and came to, where I was. After that, literally, the lady came in and she was like, I noticed that your chart said that you're hypertensive. And I kind of looked at her like, because I've been telling you this, like, you understand? And that's kind of why I was always in the hospital, because I've been telling you this. So yeah. So that night of me spending the time in the hospital, another doctor was on call, and she came, well, a nurse I should say, and she came in and she was like, we're gonna keep you overnight, so I'll be the one to check on you and what's not. If anything, continue going to your OB appointment if you have any, because at 9 months you have to go to your OB appointment every week. So I said, well, I have one tomorrow, which was a Friday. Should I go to it? And she was like, yes, still go to it, as scheduled, as planned and what's not. So I was like, okay, whatever. Well, the nurse from the night before came in and she was telling me that she's gonna discharge me, and that normally they would induce on Fridays, but they are like full to induce. So I was like, okay. So she said the Tuesday I should come back for my induction. So at this point I was like, whatever, I'm over the situation, I just want her out, right? Y'all, I went to my appointment that day. After I left from the hospital, I went to my appointment. When I got there, they were doing the regular screening for your, not screening, but like to check your vitals, I should say. And I literally told the lady, I was like, listen, my pressure is up, I just came from the hospital, I am aware of that. They said that they'll induce on Tuesday, and that's that. So she was like, if your pressure is up, you going back to the hospital. And at this point I was just like, bruh, whatever. She checked my pressure and she saw that my pressure was up, and she said, the way she watched me, she was like, Miss Smith, I'll be back. So she went and get my OB, and my OB came in and she was like, Miss Smith, come with me please. And I went in and I was like, listen, they said that they'll induce on Tuesday. I'll deal with this on Tuesday and what's not. So she said, your pressure is too high for them to decide that they want to induce on Tuesday. Y'all, mind, while she's saying this, right, she's writing a letter to the hospital basically saying that y'all need to induce her like today. She checked me and she said, are you still having contractions? Because at this point I'm having contractions and my freaking nothing is happening. If you pregnant people know what I mean by nothing is happening, like you'll be having contractions and nothing is happening. Like your cervix is closed shut, your canal is straight, tightly closed shut, like nothing is happening. When I reached back to the hospital now, because she had already called them and alerted them that I was coming back to the hospital and I needed to induce. When I got there, I shit you kid you guys not, the nurse that was dealing with me said to me, she was like, Miss Smith, we'll induce you today because we don't want you getting us in trouble. So I forgot to mention that this nurse, she was like, oh, why you went to your appointment? Why you even went to you should have just gone home, this and that. Basically trying to make it seem like as if it was my fault. I was like, when she said that, I literally felt a little disgusted because I was like, this is y'all job. Don't be trying to put it on me like as if I'm the bad person for my pressure being high and whatever. That was around 10 that morning, and around 12 is when I reached to the hospital, right? Around 5 they started my induction, and literally it was the worst. So some people are different. They start hypotosing if you are dilated, but for me, since I wasn't dilated, they opened my they shoved a balloon looking kind of like a thin balloon kind of thing and blew it like up into my cervix and blew it up to 3 centimeters, pulled at it and stuck it to my leg, so basically forcing my body into labor. At first it wasn't nothing. I was like, oh, that's it. I got this. But let me tell y'all, that shit right there hurt, because the more that I dilated, like 1, 2, 3, because you felt it. I felt it every time. Like the first dilation was like a poop, and then I was like, oh, then the contraction started. So I was like, damn, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, I got this, because at first it wasn't bad, and honestly speaking, I was at the point where I was gonna say, and people complain about pregnancy, like contractions, they're weak. Little did I know what was coming. So I turned on my side because they have a procedure where when your pressure is high, they turn you on your side and it kind of lowers it or levels it out and what's not. Mind you, my pressure is still high, and they're literally like trying anything at this point to get it down. So the more I dilated, the more that my pressure went up. So the lady came in and she was like, Miss Smith, when your contractions really start, we consider you to get epidural, because it's going to be life-threatening to you and the baby when your pressure keeps going up with every pain that you feel. Because while I was feeling contractions, my pressure was going up like crazy. So I was like, ugh. So every time that I dilated, I felt the pressure of the ball coming out. Now let me tell y'all, they turned me on my side basically to lower my pressure, and I had family coming in and out and what's not of my room, and I was just not having it. I wanted to cry, I wanted to scream, I wanted to do everything possible in the book, because those contractions were starting to get a little bad. It wasn't bad like the real contractions, but it was bad. So I was just holding on to my bed just to like have a guy to something to comfort me and what's not, right? My mom was in the room with me, and listen, at this point I was like, bruh. So I felt like a really bad pressure, and I was like, listen, I need to pee. Call the nurse and ask her if I can go pee. So I went into the bathroom because she told me, go ahead and pee, you can go ahead and pee and what's not. I went into the bathroom and I sat on the toilet. She said, you can pee, but do not push when you pee, just let the pee slide out. And in my head I'm like, bro, how am I gonna do this? So I went in and I sat on the toilet and I pushed just a tiny bit, and the gush that came out, everyone was like, damn, he was holding that in for long. I was like, I don't think that's pee, because I still have to pee. So they called the nurse in and said, well, I think her water broke. The nurse said that she can't check because there's blood, and even if your water did not break, that it would still come back positive because there is blood. So I said, okay. So she gave me like a sedative to help me sleep through the night and what's not, because at this point I was still 3 centimeters. Like my daughter just was not having it. Around 2 that morning, I remember waking up because the pain, like as if the sedative was starting to wear off, and I was like, oh my gosh, call her and tell her that I want the other half, because she gave me half of one and said that I can get the other half when I want it, like when I'm ready for it. I want that. So around 2, I kind of, for a minute, I was like trying to just brush it off, but then it started to like really work. So then I was like, damn, okay, call her in. So she stayed a while and then she gave it to me, and then I was like, okay, I'm good now. So y'all, tell me why around 7, the sedative was still in my body, but around 6, I should say, sorry, she came in and started my Pitocin. And when I tell y'all, that was the freaking worst. Like Pitocin, your body is forced into it. It's not going into labor naturally. And that's why they say that induction hurts more than when you go into it naturally. Right? She started the Pitocin and she started it as, of course, 2. And I was like, oh, okay. There's a lot of pressure at this point. And I'm like, bruh. So I played it off and I was like, oh, that's whatever. I got these. So she came in around a half an hour or an hour after, and she started it. She pushed it up to 4. And normally your contractions come in 1. Couple minutes pass, bam. Couple minutes pass, bam. Let me tell y'all, with induction, your contractions come like, you understand? The more they turn it up, it. So she came in again and she turned it up to 6 and just continuously turn it up. At this point, I'm at least 5 centimeters dilated, right? And I'm like, bruh, I can't freaking do this. Like, I just hold on, because at this point now, people, I'm literally, and I refuse, because my mom said, if you make a sound, I'm leaving and you're going to do this by yourself. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Y'all, I was quiet. You did not know that I was in labor unless you opened my door and saw my face, okay? So when the pain started to get really bad, I continued with the not making a sound. So I just like was holding onto my bed and just freaking breathing, because my mom showed me a technique of breathing that I never saw before, which was, and that actually took my mind off of the pain, right? So when I was around 6 to 7, going on 7 centimeters, I asked for the epidural, and the lady came in and she was like, okay, we'll start the epidural. But she came in when I was about 8, going on 9 centimeters. So she came in late with my epidural. So at this point, I'm literally just dealing with the pain by myself. And I don't care at this point, because it's like, dude, you are extremely late. The pain already settled in. And I don't freaking care anymore. Like, it's whatever. So she came in, and people say that it hurts whenever you get your epidural. I did not feel when mine went in, due to the fact that while she was pushing mine in, I had a really bad contraction, so it ended up eliminating the pain and whatever of it going into my back. I didn't even feel like no kind of pressure, because the minute she pushed that needle in, boom, there was a contraction. So I was like, okay. After pregnant people know that they put the catheter in after they do the epidural. So they put my catheter in, and I began to feel a sigh of relief, but I was still feeling a lot of pressure due to the fact that my daughter was in my back. Let me tell y'all, right? The feeling of you wanting to stool came upon me so fast, and I was like, oh my God, I need to push. And I keep saying I need to push, and my mom was like, okay, let me get the doctor. The nurse came in and she was like, well, Miss Smith, you can't push because you're only 9 centimeters dilated. You have to be the full 10. I said, no. I need to push. Like, no. And she said, do you want to do a practice push? And I said, yes. I did the practice push and my daughter had crowned. And she said, oh, okay, well, her head just crowned and you're getting you ready to push now. So in my head, I'm like, oh, finally. So coming to the pushing part, they expected me, I guess, to be screaming out, hollering. Listen, no, I just push like as if I had never stooled in my life, and I was trying to get every bit of it out. And I pushed and I pushed. I pushed for 20 minutes.
So guys, I forget to mention that while I was pushing, my daughter was moving.
And she came out. But let me tell y'all, The backstory to my daughter coming out is crazy because while I'm pushing, the minute her head is about to come out, the current went. Yeah, the power went out. And everyone was like, wait, stop pushing. Y'all screaming out like, get a flashlight, get a flashlight. And I'm just like, nope, I need to push again. And she was like, okay, well, if you need to push again, do the last push. And I pushed and her head and her body came out. As her body came out, the current came back on. Well, the generator, I should say. And my daughter came out with her eyes wide open and a smile. She did the once and smiled. That's how I knew I was in for the ride of my life. So they put her on my chest, and they clean her up a little just to put her on my chest and what's not. And they said, first they asked me if I want to do skin to skin. And in my head I'm like, why wouldn't I? So I said yes. And the lady was like, well, okay. They did it, they put her on, and after like a good minute, she asked me if I wanted to see my placenta because I felt like I needed to push again. And that was me wanting to, my placenta actually wanting to push out the afterbirth. The second birth, I should say. And I was like, okay. So I pushed that out and she said, do you want to see it? So I was like, yes. So I was trying to get my mom to take my daughter off of my chest, but the doctor took her off and she was like, okay, so this is what it looks like. Show me what it looks like and what's not. So I was like, ooh, it was beautiful. So she asked me if she made a joke and she said, you want to eat it? And I was like, sis, no, that ain't how it go in this corner over here. So after a good minute, like when they took my daughter off of me, wait, let me tell y'all, when they took my daughter off of me, the way she screamed out, if she left everyone in the room shocked, because it's like this child that came out not crying and smiling, she literally sound like she whistled, okay? And I was like, bruh, like, serious, what? So the doctor said, yep, she's gonna be a mama's girl. And in my head I was like, not necessarily, but okay. Y'all, she is a mama's girl. So the next day after her delivery, my nurse that delivered her came into my room and she said, oh my gosh, like, you were my best. Like, you didn't even make a sound. You knew what you came in to do, this and that. You can go and come back again if you want. And I'm just like, never. Because hell no. So she was like all saying, yeah, I had my, just bragging about how I did good and this and that. Normally people with how many problems that I had during my pregnancy, they normally come in and they are the worst, basically. So I was like, yeah, well, my mom threatened to leave the room if I so no. And the reason for me not making a sound, guys, was mainly because when I came in to do my induction, when I came back from my appointment at the clinic, right, there was a lady giving birth in the room across from me, and she was screaming so freaking loud, and my mom overheard the doctor saying, we're trying to stabilize the baby. That put me into a panic, and I was like, hell no. So instead of me carrying on, I quietly, and I didn't want to be exhausted from my pushing part, so I just refused to make a sound. I just holding on my pain, because I'm a person, I can bear pain. You see those contractions and stuff, that's a different story, because whoo child, people who know. But yeah. So that was just like, it was, if I would do it all over again, but without all the pain and the 9 months of hell and what's not. So yeah, that was the end of this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So let me know if you guys want to see more of me telling stories and makeup, or just makeup videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share with a friend. Even if you guys want to tell me your stories and I tell it over while doing makeup, that would be freaking amazing. Like, So yeah, if you guys want to tell me the story, I'll leave the link. The first link in the description below is where you'll send me the stories, and I'll tell it to anonymously, of course. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video, and I do hope you guys enjoy it.
If you find the one, you should never give her up. I think